Well, it's the very end of July here. We haven't set foot on this property for about a month or so, but we have all of our food plots in. They're all sprayed. They're looking great. We've had our mineral sites up. We've got a water hole up. We've got cameras running. We're just trying to keep the human pressure as low as possible. But I do need to come back, check all those cards, put some batteries in. We also got our muddy trail cameras in. I'm really excited to get these up and see how they're doing. I've seen that they have really good images and videos so far, so I'm excited to get a little bit better camera up on this property and hopefully supply you guys with some better images and some video as well. So we're going to put these muddy trail cameras up and check out our food plots and see how everything's going. Well, it's September 1st down here in Indiana. We're on the property today checking trail cameras. It's probably one of the last times we're actually going to check these cameras on this property since we're only about a month away from our season here in Indiana. Our season starts October 1st. So wanted to stop and take a minute while we are checking cameras to talk about how you go about setting these trail cameras up, what you should consider before buying a camera, what you should consider that should be in a camera that you run all fall for different situations, different locations, all depending on what kind of information you want out of your trail cameras. And really what it comes down to is just breaking it down into several different steps of consideration, preparation, what you should think about before you, 1, buy the camera, 2, set the camera up, and then 3, obviously, how you set the camera up. Now, the first consideration or the first step that you should really take or think about is what camera to buy. And you might think initially that all cameras are the same, but it really depends on what intel that you want out of the camera. If you want to set it over a food plot, you want to set it over a large feeding area, a ag field, you need time-lapse modes. If you want to set it over mineral sites or a water hole or some kind of bait site, then you want maybe video or obviously picture mode and burst. If you want it on a trail, you want really fast trigger speed and a lot of photo bursts. There's just different things in each camera that you should look for, again, always depending upon what you're going to use that trail camera for. Now, these muddies, for example, we're trying these out this year, and they've got a little bit better options than what you see in most cameras. They've got a longer video length. They've also got more photo bursts beyond just your regular 3 photo bursts that you see in most cameras. So it gives us a little bit of different options on where we can actually put it. Now, after you figure out which trail camera you want, depending upon the settings and again the intel that you want and what the trail camera can actually give you, you need to worry about the trail camera location. And again, that's very situational dependent. So if you want to put it on a food plot, you would want the trail camera on a tree, or you want it on a tree stake that Muddy sells also with these cameras, where you can view what kind of deer are coming into and out of the plot, where they're entering at, or you can just simply set it up high with a time-lapse view where you can see the entire field and just run the pictures during daytime to see what deer or how many deer are in that food plot or that ag field during the day. When it comes to a trail, trails are probably harder ones for beginners to set up or just people to set up trail cameras in general, because they either set it straight on that trail or they set it perpendicular to the trail, both which are not the ideal situation. Straight on is right in front of the deer's face, and perpendicular, the deer can cross through that trail, especially during the rut, too fast for that trail camera to capture. Even with the highest trigger speed, it's really hard for the camera to absolutely capture that still image. So really the 45-degree angle from that trail is the happy medium between, where you're not in front of the deer's face, but you're also able to capture the movement from the deer working it all the way in or going away. Just gives you a lot more opportunities for a photo or the video. When you're setting it over a mineral site, a bait site, or a mock scrape, anything that the deer is going to stop in front of the camera, you want to set it about 10 yards away from that, and just so you can see everything that's utilizing that bait or that area. and you want to put it about, breast height. Like this is right now over mineral station, so this is about the perfect height, perfect distance away, where you're going to be able to see everything that's utilized on the site, and get a really clear picture to identify a buck or see how many deer are actually on that site. Now the next step after you get the trail camera in the right location is actually installing that trail camera or setting the trail camera up. And the first thing that I would ask you to look at or think about that a lot of people don't is the trail camera field of view and the distance of the night flash. A lot of people will set it up in a pretty densely, there's a lot of vegetation around this trail camera. There's something right in front of the camera. One, that could set off the trigger and you'll just have a lot of pictures of a lot of moving plants. And two, it can capture that flash a lot and kind of not be able to reach farther back and catch the deer in the background. You have a plant right in front of the trail camera, you have a lot of it'll just basically be really bright and everything in the background will be kind of dimmer. So you need to make sure that you clear out everything, whether that's taking a weed eater or just simply bending some saplings down. Try to get as much out of the trail camera view as possible without making it too obvious or destroying whatever's around that trail camera. And the second thing again is the distance for the night flash. Make sure you pay attention to that. A lot of activity, especially if you're setting it over like a mock scrape or a food plot, a lot of that activity is going to be during the night, and you want to make sure that you're not setting the trail camera so far back that you're not going to be able to see what's actually in front of it. Just seeing eyes and somewhat of a rack is going to make you pretty aggravated. So make sure you take a look at both the field of view and the night flash distance. Now after those initial settings, the next thing I should probably talk about is the memory cards and the batteries. And that's pretty general. With most trail cameras, you're going to get by with an 8 GB card if you check it within a reasonable time. But with the trail cameras coming out nowadays, take the ProCam 12 for example, you're getting a very high image quality, you're getting great video out of it. It can fill the memory card up faster, especially if you have it on the wrong type of settings, like a 10-second burst or a 3-photo burst on 10 seconds on a bait site. It's going to burn through that memory a lot faster than, say, a 5-minute delay. So you kind of got to be cautious of what you're setting it on, which quality, how many photos, or how long of a video, what quality of video. If you're doing something that's going to need a lot of memory, just bump it up to a 16 GB. But like I said, everything will do just fine with an 8 GB. Now when it comes to trail camera batteries, most all trail cameras are running off AA's now. That's pretty normal. But the takeaway you should have is during the winter, when it gets down in those single digits or below zero, it doesn't matter what kind of trail camera you have, whatever batteries you're using, the battery power is going to drain awful fast. And if you're not checking it within a reasonable time, there's going to be a point, or there's going to be a situation where you find your trail camera dead. So every time you do check cards in the winter, when it starts dropping in those low temperatures, make sure you carry an extra set of batteries with you just to fill it up. I like to keep all my cameras running above 80% throughout the winter, just because I know they can drain fast and I want them operating at the optimal level and making sure they capture everything. Now the final step when you're setting up trail cameras or using trail cameras this fall is the trail camera settings. And I could probably talk about this for a really long time, and it's very situational dependent. In general, what the settings mean. Just make sure you run through the entire, all the settings or all the menu features on that trail camera to make sure you have everything where it needs to be, and make sure you save that if that's the type of function on the trail camera. When it comes to trail camera settings, again, I could probably talk about it forever, but in general, think about what kind of information you want. Think about the time of year, what the deer will be doing in front of this trail camera. If it's the rut, they're going to be moving fast, so think about that in your settings. If they're going to be standing still or feeding for a long time, or you've got a bait site, maybe you need a longer delay. Maybe you don't need every 10 seconds or 30 seconds for this trail camera to be triggered and take a 3-photo burst, because in all likelihood it's probably going to be that deer standing there for a very long time. Those are really all the basics of setting up a trail camera. And before you go, I'd like to leave you with a little bit more information or tips on these trail cameras, and that would be trail camera direction, trail camera scent, and trail camera security. Now when it comes to direction, the sun can have a pretty big impact on your trail camera other than just night and day activity. You want to in general set your cameras up facing north, not south, not east, not west. You don't want the sun when it's rising or going down a setting, you don't want that glare in your image, potentially, you know, blinding out the camera and you not being able to see what's in front of it. Also, the heat in the camera, getting direct sunlight can also set that camera up or just burn it up. So keep that in mind. When it comes to trail camera scent, you just want to wear rubber boots, wear your hunting clothing, your scent-free hunting clothing, or wear hip waders, just something rubber to keep the scent down as low as possible on these sites. You want deer activity at the normal. You don't want deer to be vacant from the area 5 days after you check each camera. So be aware of the direction you're setting it up and be aware of the scent that you're laying down on these sites. And the last thing is trail camera security. Basically, you don't know who will be setting foot on your property and when. There's always going to be trespassers on a property. Maybe not every year, but everybody seems like they experience it. So put a cable lock. All cameras basically come with cable locks now. These muddies do. Just run the cable lock through, and you'll deter a trespasser from ripping the camera off, and you give yourself a little bit more time to recover that camera. So with that basically covers everything that you should kind of consider. Again, look out for the trail camera settings video, where we really dive into what kind of settings you should use for which situation during the fall. And again, we'll update you as deer season progresses.